it's like, I know this sounds stupid, but I feel like if I turn off the Hearthstones, it's gonna go back to the same thing.
So wait, you turn on Hearthstones and now this shit works?
Yeah,
That is retarded.
I don't know what's up.
Alright, fuck it. So let's go, man. What's up? You were saying that the starfish and
So okay,
Jesus.
you have to if you're trying to when talking about gender, you have to involve and you involve biology, you have to involve the entire science of gender. You can't just stop at talking about like human gender. I know as far as like you saying like there's only two genders or people fighting for like there are more than two genders.
There are only
It's
two.
only it's only talking about humans. I get that, and that only matters to us. And who gives a shit about the rest of the animals and stuff like that?
Right.
But when you're talking about it in a biological standpoint, you have to look at it from all angles because that's how science works. And so technically the truth is there are technically three types of genders in a way because there are male, there are female, and then there are asexual organisms on this planet because they are living organisms and they produce, but not by like gender, by genitalia. I get that. So it's kind of a gray line. It's not necessarily a gender as we associate it with humans, but gender has to do with the science of reproducing and how that comes to be. And so
Well,
asexual things like starfish or things like, and actually I was looking, not using transgender, but that's what like you were talking about with hyenas and frogs and stuff like that. There is something called transitional sexual animals. And they still have the biological genders that you're talking about as far as male and female, but they do come to be and adjust based on their environments and it's all based on reproduction.
okay,
Gender
okay,
gender is derived from reproduction.
but okay,
So you
okay.
have to look at it from
So,
that point.
but see, this is like a newest. See, if we think about it, right? All this is like new shit coming up right now. These people trying to find an excuse to be like, okay, well, let's change the definition of gender. If we talk about
Of
gender,
course.
when it was, by people, scientists and biologists, they put it in a book to put it like to all these people to learn in schools and all over the world. This is what we know. There was only male and female. That's the procreation, right? So,
Well, yes
the,
and no.
but the definition of gender, that's what it was. That's what they've been teaching in school. Now, why do we need to change that definition?
I don't think that we have to change as far as what you're talking about though is you're talking about sexual organisms. As far as sexual organisms go, there are only two genders except for with the condition of environmentally transitional sexual organisms like you were talking about hyenas and frogs, a lot of
Right,
amphibians as a matter of fact and stuff like that. But it's still in the avenue of only two genders. I
right.
get what you're saying, but as far as gender, gender is derived from the study of reproduction. And so if you look at if you go to a gender
Reproduction.
topic, what about it?
Well, what you need to reproduce. What you need to
Of
make.
course, but if you
No, 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 but what you need.
well, no, because that's
What
you're
do you mean,
not
no?
approaching this correct.
What do you mean, no?
You're what do I mean though is the creation, or it's not the creation, but it's the production of the same species. Like ducks can't make whales, and whales can't make lizards, and lizards can't make. But they're creating, they're passing on their DNA to other generations. Now, how that comes to be, that's where my argument comes in, is that there's an association with the bigger picture that
Mm-hmm.
gender derives from the study of reproduction. There are actually three ways of that to happen. There are sexual
Three.
organisms we're associated with two, that is male and female, and then there's also asexual, which they do the exact same thing, but instead of using genitalia, they just split themselves and basically make a copy of them,
Like a
like
cell.
starfish and cells. But there are things like that we can see, like starfish and crustaceans, and there's even some species, some species of squid that can do it. There are even like at certain points at the like certain amphibians when they're in the tadpole phase, they can actually be asexual as well.
Uh
And it's
huh.
really rare, but it happens. Insects can do it and stuff like that. So as far as the broader picture, if you're trying to involve sciences, trying to look at it from multiple avenues at every single angle, technically and scientifically and tangibly proven, there are three types of genders. But as far as associated with the argument of there are only two genders, you have to involve that. No, what you mean is there's only two human genders or sexual genders.
There's only two human genders.
Exactly. I agree with that statement.
I agree with that too.
I know. But when you say it like there are only two genders, you've left out the human part, and then that's where I don't agree with you.
Well, I mean, okay. Well,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was trying to get across.
like, if we bring the hyenas again, right? So, yes, the asexuals, the where you were talking about, you know, you got your female, your male hyenas, right? When the herd is herding, and they're not getting all these many hyenas out. Yes, the male or the female can switch.
But I don't even consider that a different gender. I'm not even looking at that example because I don't.
So there's only two.
Different gender.
Then there's only two.
I know, because that's a sexual organism.
So what the heck is asexual then?
Sexual is male and female, but that doesn't mean that sexual does not mean that those are the only genders.
But that's all there is. Like what? Okay,
no.
So what are you trying to?
As far as gender goes, with all species, not just humans. As far as all species go,
Okay.
not just two genders.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So how hard is it just to keep it as to understand that there's only like male and female? Like why is it so hard?
It depends on what you mean. It depends on what you.
No.
It depends on what you're saying.
What? Let's look at overall. Like anything that is a fact right now
I
is
am
just
looking at it overall. You're the one who's looking at it specifically about sexual animals.
whatever is a fact is whatever we humans make it to believe. Because right now, anything outside humans, they can
No,
go.
because look at it this way. Look at it this way.
But
You're wrong
we,
about that. No, let me
but
say something.
we're calling it.
Humans never existed.
But we're calling it.
Never existed.
We're calling it as what we think they are or what think it is.
We do think that, Pedro.
No, I know.
You're not getting it.
No, I do get it.
No, you don't.
All I'm trying to say.
Because look, even if let's just say hypothetically humans never existed, there's
But-
still starfish,
But
right?
I listen to you. Now, listen, so if I go to a starfish, right, and I ask him, hey, now tell me your definition of this. What do you think the starfish is going to tell me?
Well, it depends on their level of intelligence.
Nothing.
But, I mean,
Nothing, because I won't be able to understand the starfish. Maybe
that doesn't.
they have a communication system or whatever, but that's what we
That's
refer.
no more different. Pedro, that's not a good way of looking at it. This is why.
Why not? Why not?
Because let me. Okay, I have a rebuttal. That's why I'm trying to explain it. That's like saying somebody that like when you die, that means that nothing exists anymore.
Huh?
It does. Think about it.
Once anything dies, once anything. Wait.
Let me finish.
Okay.
You're
Go ahead.
I get what you're saying, that all these things that we understand are based on how we understand them, and we don't give a shit about the perspective of other animals and stuff like that. I get what you're saying.
As humans.
But the thing is, for me, I didn't just make up asexual organisms. Human made that up too. Like scientists actually figured that out too, that there aren't just male and female. There's also these species on this planet that split themselves and copy themselves. We also came up with that too. And that's a part of reproduction and that is associated with the argument of gender.
Right? But
So
it doesn't have to
there's
be.
no but.
It doesn't have to be.
What do you mean?
Well, it doesn't have to be, but the point that I'm saying is like, this is the way
It's
we've been
not.
seeing.
No.
The way that we've been seeing this through years, and we've been
You're
seeing.
putting too much of the human ego into it.
But why not? You know, you want to hear about the human ego? Is the stupidest shit I hear is okay. So the universe and everything is a picture of our imagination. That is the
Of course.
no, but that is the stupidest shit I ever hear. Let me ask you a question, man. How do you feel about this question? About okay, if a tree falls down in the forest and there's nobody to hear it, does it make a sound?
But you're actually.
No. Let me ask you something. If a tree falls down in the forest and there's nobody and nobody has any humans to hear it or animals, does it make a sound?
Who gives a shit?
It does make a sound. It does.
Of course it does.
Because it doesn't matter.
Understand.
It doesn't matter what anybody believes. It doesn't matter where your head is stuck in.
This isn't a belief.
It is.
It's not a belief. No, it's not.
I think
It's not a belief.
I think thinking more than one gender. I think it's like religion. Like people need something to feel comfortable about reality.
That is wrong.
Oh, what is define religion?
What do you mean define? I'm not going to go into a big.
No. The word religion is not.
I'm not gonna
something about God or.
I want to have this
No.
Pedro,
You
I
don't.
want to have this conversation with you, but I'm not going to have a conversation about until I disprove God. Then I
No.
there is a God
See?
kind of a conversation.
I wasn't even going there.
I'm saying that's the type of. I'm not saying that.
I know that.
Listen to what I'm saying.
I know that.
Pedro,
I know that the people that you cannot relate. But listen, my friend, listen. No, listen.
What I'm saying.
Listen. When you talk about religion, doesn't mean something spiritual. Religion is a group of people that believe.
I understand what religion is. What I'm saying is.
But it's not about God.
I wasn't even trying to have a religious conversation with you. I said you're trying to start a type of conversation.
I was not starting a religious conversation,
yes,
first
you
of all.
were.
No,
Yes,
what's not?
Let me explain why.
I don't believe in religion, first of all.
I know. I'm not saying that you do. You're not understanding what I'm saying. It's called a metaphor. I was using a metaphor that the type of conversation that you were trying to have with me is like when people try to say, well, if you can't disprove God, then he must exist. It's a backwards conversation. I'm not going to have that with you.
That's not where I was going.
That is exactly
first of all,
what you're doing. That is exactly what you're doing.
You just assume where my conversation was going.
I'm not assuming anything.
You see what I mean?
Anything.
Like
I've had these types of conversations before, and you may not be aware of it, but that's the type of shape of conversation you were creating.
I was not.
What I'm saying is,
I was not, and I want to make it.
What I was trying to say is, I understand what you're saying when it comes to, yes, we are a species that labels things to our advance in like our technology and whatnot in order to explain things. But that doesn't necessarily mean that everything that we've labeled, everything that we've tried to explain is definitively a belief, because you haven't even proven that's what's happening. You first have to explain to me, how is all of that a belief? There are certain because
what is belief?
What do you mean? What is a belief?
Like, for example, okay, so anything that is written in books and shit like that, right? Not even just religion.
Okay. Let me explain. Do you think that there's a difference between, let's just say they are beliefs, but wouldn't you say that there's a complete difference between the belief of how to make a house and the belief of that there was a snake that talked to two people that started the human race?
Well, first of all,
Aren't those two completely different? Or do you think that they're
fir-
equally as
first of
beliefs
all,
as one another?
first of all, there are beliefs.
No, no, no. But I'm saying, like, do you think that those are equal? Do you think that, let's just say, what you're saying is that everything that we've labeled, everything that we've come to be and being able to create as humans and stuff like that, let's just take two topics. On one side, you have the Adam and Eve story where a snake came down and manipulated the first woman and the first man in this Garden of Eden that God created. Okay,
Right.
so you have that belief. And then you also have this because you just said that everything that we've labeled and everything is also a belief. That the belief of how to make a house and to do it successfully. Now, if you take those two things, do you think that they're equally beliefs?
Nope.
Exactly. So you can't say that everything, you can't just generally, with a broad brush, just say all of this are beliefs. There's different levels of what you're talking about.
But I can't.
So when you take that and you just broad brush everything, then your argument is already folly because you're taking beliefs of religion and beliefs of
Jacob,
science.
That all depends.
Thing.
That all depends on your argument of who's listening to. Cause
who cares?
No,
who cares?
But
one has evidence
right there,
the other doesn't.
There's always gonna be two sides, and whatever you say, at the end it doesn't really matter. Because at the end, there's always gonna be two sides. There's always gonna be somebody that's trying to prove you wrong. Somebody that's always trying to be like, no, this is incorrect.
Man, you need to read this book,
I don't read though.
No, dude, it's 100 pages. It's not even that big.
It's somebody else's ideas. Why should I read a book? Why? Give me an explanation why.
Why should you go to a job? Why should you have a family? Why should you
drive
a car?
Jacob,
why should you eat?
In human biology,
how many came up with that, right? That's just a belief that we're supposed to eat, or is that just
how many genders are there as humans? How many genders?
Two.
Only
There's
two.
Two genders as humans.
A penis and a vagina.
Yep.
What else do we need? What about the gays then?
Do you think that it's a belief that we have to eat? Like, do you think that we just believe it?
I don't believe it. We have to. We have to. That's
why? That's no.
If you
that's a belief. That's a belief.
How can you
no?
How can you survive without eating?
Understand anything?
Well, how can you survive without eating?
Explain to me how you're supposed to understand a belief. How can you understand?
What is a belief? What is a belief or what is a fact? Or what is a fact?
What? No, you just said everything. Like, why go to a job? Why do all this stuff? All of those things you just said you're in agreement that those are beliefs. Everything that we've labeled, everything that we've understood, there's different opinions about everything. So how can you understand a belief? If everything's a belief and we shouldn't trust anything, then you have to look at eating. Maybe if we stop believing that we have to eat, then maybe we don't have to.
It just seems silly to me. It sounds silly. Because
that's what you were arguing for, though. That's what you were saying.
No.
You were saying that everything that we've come to understand is a belief.
It's silly to me.
You can't understand beliefs.
But it's silly to me because then you also got people that believe, oh, okay, there's more than two genders. There's also people that believe, oh, the air is flat. They also believe the people that are like, oh, vaccines is going to turn your...
There's a lot of shit
they're gonna
sift through in order to find truth.
But you see all these fucking...
I'm with you on that one.
To me, I think all these people, I believe that they're just fucking retarded. To be honest, it's just they're looking for an excuse to like escape reality, maybe escape the ordinary life. I don't know what it is, but these groups are becoming like bigger and bigger, and now you got kids dying for not being vaccinated. You got fucking retards believing that the earth is flat and saying that Australia is not real, and then you got people saying that there's 78 genders. Like, how? Like, how retarded are we gonna make the human race, dude. It's
It's because
stupid.
before
It's
people were,
stupid.
because nowadays it's so popular to say that you can't judge anyone, and I think judging people
Wait.
actually makes people more like grounded and like.
Well, that is a lie. That is a lie. You can judge somebody. You don't have to say nothing about
No,
it.
I'm just saying.
In your head. In your head, you can. I can see a black chick walking down the street, and in my head, I'm like, is she gonna offer me like a blowjob, or is she gonna steal my fucking check? You know what I'm saying? But that's in my head. You're still judging. Everybody judge. It doesn't
No,
matter.
of course, I understand that. I'm in agreement with that. But I think, like, what I'm saying is to explain why you think that, like, why are all these groups happening and why are people being so retarded and stupid? It's a lot about, like, oh, we have to, you know, like, I was arguing with Laura, to be honest with you, that, like,
Wait, who?
Like, I know who.
Who?
Anyway, one of the arguments that really pissed me off was that she was like, one of the things that we're teaching in schools is that any time that like a kid gets bullied, they're supposed to go straight to a teacher. And I said, you know what? I don't think that works. I think that we should try to teach kids to stand up for themselves,
right?
And be able to like face their bullies rather than just hand the problem to somebody else.
Right.
And a lot of it, and the other thing too is like you know, you can't judge people and whatnot. And I think to a degree, yes.
Well, you gotta judge. You gotta judge. Okay, go ahead.
But what I'm saying is that.
But first,
I think that people weren't capable of being as stupid as we are now because judgment was important in culture. It was more important to judge a person by their character and by like their works and stuff like that. But now it's like nobody can tell you that you're wrong. Nobody can tell you that you're messing up. Nobody.
But that's a problem right there.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's a problem.
It is. Damn, dude, you okay? You need some coke? I got some Cocoa Puff. Alright, man. Hey, dude, this is gonna be my first podcast, I guess. I'm gonna be calling people. We're gonna talk shit, and we're gonna see where the fuck this shit take us to.
Well, send me the link so I can like listen back on it and stuff like that.
I will, dude, because it's gonna be awesome. I mean, at the end, all we got is share opinions. Talk about it.
Dude, we should
let somebody talk. Let somebody else talk. You know, and that's what it is. And that's what we're gonna do.
With more people and on like a video conference.
I was trying to get Derek up here, but I think he's just jerking it off or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, next time, next video I put on. Yeah, dude, let's do it. I'll send you the link as soon as I do it. I think it's one of my first ones. I'm gonna keep doing it because this is awesome. I mean, this is shit that we need to talk about. You know?
Yeah.
And everybody's afraid of. Hey, man. Hey, I wish you the best, dude. I hope to see you back in Milwaukee soon.
Yeah, I do too, for sure. Like, I'm trying to make it work out.
Nice. All right, my man. I'll see you. Oh shit. Okay, I'll see you later.
Yep. See ya.
Peace.